I never planned confession. This truth chased me. Hidden meetings shape destinies. I was never invited until tonight happened. A door finally opened. Silence weighed heavily. Eyes studied my face. Names whispered softly. History leaned forward. Someone spoke calmly. Your bloodline matters. I laughed nervously then. They never smiled back. Papers slid forward. Seals looked ancient. Dust smelled important. My name appeared repeatedly. Ink felt alive somehow. Heartbeat lost rhythm. This was not fantasy. This was not theater. This was inheritance calling. I asked questions, trembling. They answered patiently, always. A meeting long delayed. Hidden from my birth. Protected from danger. Truth kept buried. Not forgotten though. Waiting for me. Waiting for readiness. They measured my silence. They measured my courage. They measured my eyes. One elder finally nodded. He knew something. Something undeniable there. You carry marks. Marks of legacy. I denied instinctively. Refused responsibility outright. But truth persisted. Like unhealed wound. They described ancestors. Not famous kings. Not crowned emperors. But silent architects. Builders behind thrones. Hands shaping centuries. Names erased intentionally. Stories edited strategically. History rewritten brutally. Bloodlines scattered worldwide. Survivors taught forgetting. Survival required silence. Silence bred ignorance. Ignorance bred safety. Safety bred distance. Distance bred me. Unknowing descendant walking. Living ordinary days. Working ordinary nights. Feeling extraordinary emptiness. That emptiness explained. He was calling. Calling without language. Calling through restlessness. Calling the rough, recurring dreams. Dreams of corridors. Dreams of councils. Dreams of betrayal. Dreams of fire. Dreams of seals. Dreams of oaths. Dreams of blood. Dreams of awakening. I thought imagination. They called memory. Memory sleeping quietly. Until triggered deliberately. This meeting triggered it. They spoke lineage. Not by names. But by choices. By sacrifices chosen. By losses accepted. By power refused. True descendants choose restraint. They do not conquer. They do not dominate. They preserve balance. Balance misunderstood always. Power hidden intentionally, because exposure corrupts. Corruption destroys legacies. Legacies require discipline. Discipline requires suffering. Suffering I recognized. Pain felt familiar. Loss felt rehearsed. Loneliness felt inherited. They explained everything, yet nothing felt clear. Truth never arrives gently. It crashes inward, breaking internal walls. Walls built unknowingly to protect fragile selves. They said danger remains. Enemies never disappeared. They adapted instead. They infiltrated systems. They rewrote narratives. They hunt bloodlines. Bloodlines like mine. Hidden descendants scattered. Some awakened earlier. Some eliminated quietly. Some betrayed legacy. Some chose comfort. Comfort over responsibility. Comfort over truth. I asked consequences. They did not hesitate. Once awakened, chosen. There is no return. Knowledge removes innocence. Innocence was shield. shield now removed. I felt exposed, not physically naked, but spiritually seen, seen by centuries, seen by ancestors, seen by expectations. They offered choice, real choice still. Walk away, forget, or step forward, remember. Remember who you, ember, why protected. Remember what required. I wanted escape, normal life suddenly precious. Ignorance felt luxurious, but truth burned, burned behind eyes, burned in chest, burned in veins. Blood recognized calling. I asked identity. They answered indirectly. Titles mislead people. Names attract enemies. You are descendant of keepers unseen, of watchers silent, of oath-bound guardians, guardians of thresholds, thresholds between chaos, chaos and order, order and tyranny. They prevented extremes. Through sacrifice unrecorded, their reward was obscurity. Their punishment was erasure. I realized sadness then. Nobody remembered them, yet world still stood. Because of them, because of choices, choices now mine. I felt anger rise. Anger at burden, anger at secrecy, anger at stolen normalcy. They acknowledged anger. Anger is healthy. Hatred is dangerous. They warned gently. This path isolates. Isolation already familiar. I nodded slowly. They prepared next phase. Training of remembrance. Memory. Unlocking rituals. Mental discipline practices. Physical restraint. Mastery. Moral clarity. Sharpening. They emphasized humility. Arrogance destroys descendants. Many failed historically. They showed records, records of fallen heirs. Power corrupted them. They exposed themselves. Enemies erased them. Legacy thinned dangerously. That is why secrecy. That is why waiting. That is why you remained hidden until alignment arrived. Alignment of character. Character mattered most. Not strength nor intelligence. Heart orientation mattered. My heart pounded. Was I worthy? Worthy terrified me. They said worthiness is proven forward, not backward reflection. The meet concluded with silence again. Seals reclosed softly. Papers reclaimed shadows. One elder approached. He placed hand on chest. Rye didn't sleep. After that night, truth kept breathing. Inside my chest, morning felt unfamiliar. Mirrors felt honest. My reflection changed. Not visibly changed, but internally awakened. I carried silence. Silence carried weight. Weight shaped posture. Posture shaped resolve. Resolve scared me. Fear felt deserved. They warned clearly. Awakening isolates deeper. Friends feel distant. Laughter sounds hollow. Routine loses meaning. Meaning demands purpose. Purpose demands sacrifice. Sacrifice demands courage. Courage demands truth. Truth demands loneliness. Loneliness I knew. But this differed. This was inherited, not self-created. I revisited memories. Childhood moments resurfaced. Times I sensed. I was watched. Not stalked maliciously, but guarded discreetly. Near accidents unexplained. Opportunities strangely blocked. People appearing briefly, guiding then disappearing. I thought coincidence. Now patterns emerged, protection disguised as chaos. They trained patience. Without my awareness, they shaped instincts. Through resistance only, every rejection mattered, every delay intentional. They kept me unremarkable, untraceable, uninteresting, invisible. Invisibility was armor. Armor saved bloodlines. Bloodlines, like mine. I understood strategy, not paranoia. Long-term survival thinking. Enemies think generationally. So must guardians. The elders contacted me, not digitally ever, only through presence. Safe places chosen, no patterns repeated. They taught protocols, silence over excitement, observation over raya, attention, questions over assumptions, power over impulses. They tested discipline by withholding answers. Curiosity burned fiercely, but restraint mattered. Restraint proved lineage. They revealed fragments, never full picture. Truth delivered gradually. To avoid ego intoxication, they showed me maps, not geographic maps, but influence networks. Networks shaping outcomes, outcomes shaping nations. They never ruled openly. They influenced quietly. Advisor shadows behind leaders, correcting catastrophic paths, preventing irreversible collapse. When failed, chaos followed. History books mislabel events, calling accidents or fate. But they intervened often, at cost of lives, often their own. They never glorified sacrifice. They accepted necessity. That acceptance haunted me. I questioned morality. They welcomed questions. Blind loyalty rejected immediately. Only conscious commitment allowed. Commitment after understanding consequences. Consequences included death, isolation, exile, anonymity, loved ones never knowing why you disappear, why distance grows, why silence persists. I thought of love. Love complicates duty. They acknowledged painfully. Many descendants failed here. They chose attachment, attachment over balance, balance over happiness required. They said softly, "You will choose. We do not force." Forcing corrupts lineage. Lineage survives consent. I asked origin. They paused long, then spoke carefully. Before recorded history, before written language, groups existed guarding thresholds. Thresholds between dimensions, between human impulse and destructive potential. Call it spiritual, call it psychological. Names irrelevant always. Funk, Tian mattered only. They maintained equilibrium by guiding critical decisions, sometimes whispering warnings, sometimes orchestrating removal. Removal never celebrated, always mourned privately. They carried guilt centuries, yet continued regardless, because alternative worse. They showed me failures, times they hesitated, times compassion delayed action. Those delays cost millions. Entire civilizations collapsed from small indecisions. That weight shaped doctrine. Act early silently. Never wait applause. Never seek recognition. Recognition invites enemies. Enemies exploit visibility. I realized gravity. This was not fantasy, not royal destiny, not chosen glory. It was custodial burden. cleaning messes unseen, preventing disasters unnoticed, receiving blame occasionally, never receiving credit. They asked readiness, not verbally, but through tests, weeks past testing, moral dilemmas staged, information incomplete intentionally. They observed reactions, whether I rushed judgment, whether I sought counsel, whether ego influenced choices, whether compassion clouded clarity. I failed some tests. They corrected patiently. Failure expected initially. Learning mattered more. They taught detachment, not emotional numbness, but clarity despite emotion. Emotion acknowledged yet managed. They emphasized humility again. Descendants fall without it. Power whispers seductively, especially hidden power. Hidden power feels godlike. They dismantled that illusion, showing consequences vividly. Former heirs destroyed families, trying play savior publicly. They became monsters ironically, exactly what lineage prevents. That scared me deeply. I didn't want power. They smiled knowingly, that reluctance essential, those craving power rejected. I began training, mental endurance primarily, long silence exercises, observation without interference, studying systems neutrally, learning human predictability.